Well, Jim, let's go to the star ratings. Let's review these star ratings Dave Meltzer did in the Wrestling Observer newsletter for night 2 of WrestleMania 41. Io Sky retained the Women's World Championship over Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. 14 minutes, 8 seconds. 5-star match. I'm not going to disagree with him. I thought that was the best 3-way match I've ever seen in the women's division, and I really liked it.
Well, no, I'm laughing again because now, it was the best women's 3-way, I think, of all time. We can say that. I'm just the over-the-topedness after we just talked about the 4 3/4 with 3 of my just favorite people in the world, and Roman Reigns in there also. I've never met him, so. But I would even say, okay, 4.5. Let's just, I don't think it's, I don't know. The last thing I saw that was 5 stars was FTR and Gin and Juice on TV that night, just because it came out of nowhere and so vastly exceeded expectations. I just think you should be more judicious with that type of thing. But I'll go 4.5, and as Davis said, if we're arguing over half a star, it's the same thing.
Well, here's one I definitely disagree with. Drew McIntyre defeated Damian Priest in a street fight, a Sin City street fight. 13 minutes, 54 seconds, 4.25 stars.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I did not like that match.
Well, I mean, again, besides it being, even if you like the stunt show and the garbage match and the trash cans and the lions and tigers and bears, oh my, I don't think it was a classic of that genre either. But since, it just felt like, oh, we don't have a match where somebody's getting hit with a toilet seat, so we'll make it this one.
Well, Jim, our next match, Dominic Mysterio won the Intercontinental Championship over Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, and Penta. 10 minutes, 30 seconds, 4.25 stars.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, maybe he's just, you know what? Dave is a slow starter, as Lance Russell used to say. Oh, that Lawler, he's a notoriously slow starter, but when he gets kicked in, now he's sprinkling out those stars like sprinkles at Halloween.
I think of it more like Greg Valentine. It takes him 45 minutes just to warm up.
Yeah, well, most people are cold by that point. Again, it's good, and Braun Breaker's the future of the business. But are we talking that's a little grand for me? But whatever.
Randy Orton defeated Joe Hendry, 3 minutes, 8 seconds, no star rating given.
Oh, you know what? Why couldn't Joe Hendry get a star? Everybody else gets a star. Fucking the 3-way got a star. The fucking women's match got a star. Everybody gets a star. Joe Hendry don't get no star.
What do you think of the criticism this week? And I think Dave actually may have been one of the people really saying it, that this was WWE, this was Triple H squashing TNA. Of all the things you could have done, they didn't beat Joe Hendry. They beat the TNA World Champion. Really, when you think about it, I mean, that was the kind of thing they did back in the heyday of Triple H. Hey, we got the ECW World Champion. Let's have Hunter beat him. We got Benoit coming off being the WCW World Champion. Let's just have Hunter go out and beat him. What do you think? Is this a positive or a negative for Joe Hendry and for TNA?
Well, no, hold on. That's the cross purposes, different things. First of all, back then it was at least a foot race. When you're talking about WCW and WWF, and ECW was in there because of their, chameleon-like ability to kind of graft onto whatever. But it's not a foot race anymore. TNA's business is going to be what TNA's business is. And maybe a little bit bigger because of the crossover, maybe potentially much bigger on specific shows because of the crossover with the WWF or WWE, and if they get talent on their shows, whatever the case. But what it was they want Joe Hendry sooner than later. They see some kind of talent for something. I'm not knocking Joe. I'm just saying I don't know what they see in Joe, whether it's the music or whether it's the wrestling or whether it's the personality. But they want him at some point, and they're going to get him at some point if they want him. And from what I heard, Orton pitched the idea, hey, that kid, he's in the system. I've seen him. I'm a fan of what he's doing. Let's put him on the show. And yes, they squashed Joe Hendry, but Joe Hendry's that by the time the people see him in the WWE, he's going to be that entertaining guy that sings and smiles and does the pose and everything there. And it was on WrestleMania. That's fine. For TNA, that's the reason I laughed at it when we talked about it originally. It's embarrassing. It's but what are they going to fucking do? And their business is going to be what it's going to be. It's not like the old days where anybody in any fucking universe thinks that the TNA world champion is in any way competitive with the WWF. That's why I didn't have the WWF stars that came to OVW most of the time beat the OVW guys. Because if the OVW guys beat them, then it's phony, because elsewise, why aren't the other guys in wrestling school and the OVW guys are on them Raw, right? But they don't care whether they're pooping on TNA. They're doing them a goddamn blessing by allowing their greatness to spill off on TNA. In the meantime, they did a thing with a guy that they're going to end up with sooner or later, and it didn't hurt him. So, but as far as if it had been 25 years ago and it was WCW and WWF, my God, that would have been the biggest fucking burial in the history of company world title burials. But now you'd have to be alive to be buried in this instance. They're not anybody that it matters.
All right.
Was that clear enough?
I think that was a good answer. By the way, someone you worked with once is on TV right here in the background. Remember the announcer Joe Fowler? SummerSlam
Joe
93?
Fowler. Yes, he was there when I first got there, and I lasted longer than he did, is all I remember.
I don't know if he was there past SummerSlam. He was there for like a month or a couple months maybe, but here he is hosting some commercial for the Giddy Up grill cleaner. But I saw him in some other commercial. He must be doing this now. The new Billy Mays, Joe Fowler.
Giddy up. Giddy up, baby.
So now they're just showing you how messy you can make your grill and how this will just clean it right away. All right, well.
But you know what they're doing?
No.
You know what they're doing right there? They're selling things and they're making money. Because they're talking about products that you might want in your life.
That's right. Let's get through this star rating before we go there. Though.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I forgot we weren't done.
Well, Jim, let's get back to these star ratings. Logan Paul defeated AJ Styles 17 minutes, 44 seconds. 3.5 stars.
I mean, that's not outrageous. It was very well worked. People were kind of blasé, but I don't have an argument.
Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria defeated Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan to win the Women's Tag Team Championship. 8 minutes, 40 seconds. 2-star match.
Oh, I can't argue with that at all. But I would. How about 1 star for the match and 3 stars for the pop that Becky Lynch got when she beat up the Bird of War?
How about 3 stars for Liv's shorts getting shorter and shorter every week? Jesus.
Now you've always got to go there. Why you got to go there?
Give me a hell yeah. People. Oh, okay. Then Steve Austin drove into a woman or drove into a barricade. I think she was working. And finally, Jim.
Well, definitely. It was a delayed Ox Baker bump. But how many stars did the ATV run get?
I didn't get any here, although Dave did write, and other people pointed this out. Nobody explained how they drew 1,800 more people in a building that the night before they said was sold out. Right? Night 1, Sean announces a crowd. It's a sellout. Night 2 is a bigger crowd. It's also a sellout. How did that happen?
They went down to Home Depot and got some folding chairs. I'm telling you.
That Basil DeVito or Basil.
We had to do it at the Davis Arena. Got to go out and buy 25 more folding chairs.
Jim, finally the main event. John Cena defeated Cody Rhodes to win the WWE Championship. 25 minutes and 2 seconds. A star and 3/4.
Oh, boy.
When was the last time a main event got a rating that low? And he's not wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know what? As a matter of fact, he probably rated everything after he saw that match, and that's why those first few matches looked even better
really.
After the experience. And I mean, we weren't expecting, and he's also, Dave is grading on in-ring work as he always does, which it wasn't the greatest. But what I was going into it with realistic expectations was that it wasn't going to be the greatest match ever because John Cena is almost 50 years old and he wasn't going to be, bumping like a goddamn madman or, just flying off the top rope. That wasn't going to be the thing. They were going to hopefully have the people and the interest to go back and forth, and it would take them on the ride. And, they would do it that way with a lot of Shakespeare, as we used to say back in the territory days. But I was just going to say, unfortunately, and if that had been done to where Cody didn't look like, as Adrian Street would say, a spare prick at the wedding, or just some kind of goofball for having a chance to hit this fucking guy over the head after all he's done and choosing instead to stand there and be kicked in the balls, I would have given it 2.25 or 2.5 and said, okay, they accomplished it, right? And at least we didn't have to and Travis Scott with that wasn't the boy's fault in the ring, neither Cena nor Cody, that he decided he was going to take same time Lewis and Clark did to get to the fucking West Coast to get to the goddamn ring.
Hey, listen to what Dave wrote, because I actually agree with him here. Then Rhodes refused to hit Cena with the belt. In 2025, you want to make sure a babyface doesn't get over? Have him do that spot.
Boom.
I couldn't believe that Rhodes would agree to that. Not 1% chance Dusty Rhodes in that situation isn't hitting the guy with the belt and getting the pin, and then a second ref comes out and tells the first ref what happened. But that's true. Dusty Rhodes would have done the exact opposite.
Yes. Because John Wayne would have done the opposite. That's... But you know what? That's as James Gregory, my old friend and comedian, once said. That's the difference. Back when people were raised on grease and gravy, that's where they had babies like John Wayne. He said John Wayne's mama ate grease and gravy all her life, and then she squatted down and out popped John Wayne. And Dave just squatted down and out popped those ratings.
I was wondering where you would go.
I don't know where I was going till I got there. I never start with a plan, Brian. After every period, it's an all new thought.
Why would Cody do that spot? And just to end this with that, I mean, as I'm thinking about it, because again, it's not just like it happened organically. I wouldn't think it was planned out.
One would imagine.
Why would Cody not recognize that's a mistake? Or could he not veto that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not in those negotiations to know who has the power to down to the fine tune that, who's got the power to say no to that or this. I don't know why that Cody. I would almost have to think that he offered some type of what he thought was suitable alternate to doing that or something, because or maybe it's just that they're going to make a lot of money either way, that these things don't matter anymore because they're just cheering everybody because they're all stars or whatever. But that was one of the first major flaws to me. And people have talked about it. And I was willing to overlook the fact when Cody came back from being kicked in the balls the first time, that he didn't come out like Dusty with a fucking cowboy boot on his fist, wanting to hit somebody over the head, because you couldn't do physical angles with Cena constantly leading up to WrestleMania, because it also would have exposed a lot of his shortcomings that we just saw on full display in that match. And they're both such great talkers. Okay, we'll have a promo battle. I overlooked that because of the conditions of the situation. But then to have Cody be he wasn't necessarily a sucker before because he turned The Rock down and then fell for Cena. But fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. When he falls for Cena again, he gets kicked in the balls again. Then you're just one of those people that likes to get kicked in the balls.
You don't want to be Bob Backlund crying when your belt gets destroyed.
No.
You know, there's certain moves that baby faces, once you open that door, and I worry about Cody and his instincts with this stuff. And, you know, again, he has a team of people he's working with like Triple H, but, you know, sometimes you want to be a baby face more than reason would allow. You know, you can't just be like, I'm a good guy through and through, no matter what. It just doesn't work. But that was WrestleMania 41. Two nights that didn't work. Yeah. But this is your show.
Well, you know, Brian, what they need to be doing is they need to be out on the streets selling themselves. These wrestlers, the men and the women, they need to be out beating the bushes, out in the public selling themselves.
Sounds like Tom Casati's wet dream.
Getting themselves over. Putting themselves up for the highest bidder. No, they need to be selling their images and their likenesses and their personalities and growing their brand. And that's what everybody needs to do. You need to grow your brand, Brian, because if your brand is real tiny, then nobody can read your brand. And if your brand ain't reaching a lot of people, then nobody can see your brand. And then you got an off-brand brand. And nobody wants an off-brand brand because the brands that make the most money are the brands that are branded. Well, branded, marked as the one who ran, you need to run to Shopify because Shopify is not only the home of the #1 checkout on the planet, Shopify is one of the major e-commerce platforms in the whole world today that can take you around. I mean, their influence is felt worldwide. They're going to be also the first e-commerce platform on the space station. Have you heard about this? They're going to send one of them up there, Brian, on the very next shuttle.
We don't know anything. You can't just make statements like this.
Well,
we have no documentation.
I got a cousin that works at NASA.
No, you do not.
They're going to. Well, you don't know who my cousin works for or may have had dealings with in the past. It could have been some pillow talk. You heard about that astronaut that worked for NASA that drove across the country wearing adult diapers to fucking kill her boyfriend's girlfriend? Well, if that happened for real, then I could have a goddamn cousin working at NASA.
Was that it, or was it pillow talk? You just opened the window to a whole new argument. Either he was with NASA or it's pillow talk.
It could have been pillow talk with somebody that was at NASA. See, you don't know who's. I'm broadening this thing that way that you won't finger anybody for being the guilty party that revealed that Shopify is going to send somebody up on a space station and they're going to set up a platform on there so that they can charge every citizen on Earth a special fee from the space station, and they're going to give you a piece of it. So you'll make 1/4 of 1 cent for every human being in each country on Earth. It's a new deal they're starting.
No, again, we don't know anything. Let's make a new rule. We don't mention deals that there's no documentation to prove or anything that backs up anything you're saying before.
Well, that's true. That's true because they can't put this on paper yet. But folks,
oh come on!
If you've got a business, if you've got an idea, if you've got a dream, if you've got an aspiration or an inspiration, or you got some perspiration, Shopify wants to help you grow your business, and they can give you the commerce platform. They can give you the Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%. They can give you that #1 checkout on the planet, and they can also give you their services almost free. They're so good, they want to show you how good they are, and that's why they're going to give you a $1 a month trial period. This is really just to make it legal, because if they did it for nothing, then somebody could blow holes in it in a court of law when you eventually get sued for being such a successful company. The more successful you get, the more often you're going to be hauled into court. And that way you want to make sure you got big boys on your side. Shopify, as a matter of fact, has a team of, let's say, adjusters that go around the country. If anybody tries to haul you into court for anything that's done, well, they have a special under the table talk with them. More on that at a later date. But right now,
There will be
$1
no later
a
date.
month.
There is no special talk, but $1 a month.
Yes, $1. I think after the court case is
$1
final,
a
I think
month.
we can talk about it.
$1 a month, I
$1
believe.
a month is the trial period to make it legal. Where in effect they're working for you. It's just to indemnify everybody. That way, at $1 a month, they're going to work for you. And they're going to show you how great they are, to where you're going to want to continue to work with them because they're going to make you nothing but money. So, and that's not money, that's money. So go to shopify.com/JCE, all lowercase. That's how you get that incredible $1 a month deal. Shopify.com/JCE, all lowercase, to upgrade your selling today and make more money.
Well, you can make money with your products. And of course, the great partner that is Shopify. They power our online store, ArcadianVanguard.com. They could power yours. Shopify, make your money. Jim, one more time, what's that promo code?
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Shopify.com/JCE, $1 a month trial period. They power our store. They can power yours. They have sent our business up. They can up yours.
One more time, that promo code. Let's end on a positive note.
Shopify.com/JCE.